Yeah, it's Rikki Lambert here with you on the morning show, and usually on Fridays we bring you your Farmgate data, which you will be able to find on flownews24.com.au today. We've published that data there for you, but we wanted to bring you something on a hot topic coming out of yesterday, which is the Biden Climate Summit, the commitments made by the various nations attending there towards a new net zero target by 2050, or in China's case, 2060. And on this net zero target, I was speaking yesterday with Queensland Senator Matt Canavan, who is a former resources minister, and I wanted to bring you that commentary about net zero and specifically where agriculture might sit in that context.
Well, I think how net zero has sort of come about, if you like, is that it's net zero emissions by 2050. That's what most countries are sort of moving towards. And I think they've done that because most countries haven't met the targets they initially committed to back in the Kyoto Agreement, which was signed in 1998. And those commitments came due last year in 2020. And almost every country failed. So Japan didn't meet their targets. Canada didn't meet its targets. New Zealand even didn't meet its targets. Australia, one of the few countries that did.
Yep.
So, of course, what's the best tactic when you don't meet something you've initially committed to? You then say, "Oh, well, I didn't do what I promised today, but I'll do something better tomorrow." And so that's how we've ended up with this 2050 sort of target. And I think it'd be damaging for our country because we actually do what we say. And if we commit to this target, it will cause thousands of job losses in industries which we rely on.
And you've mentioned in your commentary about this, about the cattle sector as one example, looking at our regional communities. If we try and get to net zero, what's that going to mean, for instance, to our livestock industry? Yeah,
well, agriculture is about 15% of our carbon emissions. Each cow emits around 100 kilograms of carbon dioxide a year. And there potentially is a massive cost here. There's no technology to reduce that to zero. The only real way we could look at getting there to net, that's where the net comes in, is offsetting it. So that's how we've met our target. So I said we've met our Kyoto target. We haven't actually reduced our emissions in the cities. We're still emitting about the same as we did in non-agricultural sectors, as we did 20 years ago. That barely has changed. What we've done is we've planted a lot of trees. We've converted what used to be agricultural land back into forest. And the way the accounting rules work, that gives us an offset and lets us meet our targets. Now, we've reforested about 6 million hectares of land in Australia to achieve what we've done so far, which is our target was a 5% cut in emissions. Now we're talking to go 100%, obviously, to go to net zero.
Yep.
If we were to do that through tree planting, we'd have to cover the whole of New South Wales with trees.
But the Kiwis...
And you can imagine what impact that could have on agriculture. That's my real concern here, is that we'll lose good agricultural land, and there are not many jobs in a forest. A lot of trees, but not many people working on them.
No, and the Kiwis, I understand, they're thinning their herd to try and meet these targets. That's another way that we would get there?
That's a potential option. As I said, New Zealand haven't done much so far. They emit about the same as they did 20 years ago. They've had basically zero reduction in emissions. They have excluded agriculture for now from their net zero target.
And there's plenty more Senator Canavan had to say in that interview. You can hear the whole thing on the Flow News 24 podcast channel. Just search Flow News 24 in your favourite podcast app, and you can search and scroll to that full-length interview with Senator Matt Canavan.